NTAs coming up.
Next Wednesday.
Which you have described as the fall of Saigon.
Yeah.
Why?
Because when you come on stage to start with, you think everyone's going to be sat there. There's a little pit where you guys sit in the front. And you always think in your head that people are going to be sat there and well-behaved. OK, so for the top of part 2, we'll go down, we'll reference so-and-so. You look down and go, well, they're not there, and I don't know where they are. And then you'll just see them at the back, like, chatting to someone they used to work with. I quite like that.
It's quite like the chaos that it's definitely live.
Definitely chaos.
Well, it makes me nervous, because I think there's something about when you're a presenter as well, when you walk in, and it's always right down to the wire that people aren't sitting down.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, there was a hideous traffic jam, no one could get in, and so there was no one had arrived at the beginning of it.
Remember that.
It just makes me nervous. I'm thinking, oh, God, what's he going to do? There's no one here.
You know, there was a moment when I first, when you do big gigs to like lots of people. I remember I read some rugby player once told one of the younger rugby players that go out and have a look outside to Wembley when it's full, so you don't get nervous when you come out. And I thought, that's a good piece of advice. And that year I went out and I walked out into the auditorium before we were about to start, and I just looked around and went, there's only about a third of the people here. Now I am nervous because no one's turned up.
So when you look down into the audience this year and you look at Simon Cowell, who will of course be sitting there, will you be thinking back to what you said, that the X Factor needs a rest and that you don't like the 6 chair challenge?
You know how those things happen in interviews where you do a print interview and you're speaking to someone for about 60 minutes, and the very last question they go, oh, and the X Factor has gone down in the rates. What, do you think it needs a rest? And you just, like, top of your head, you go, yeah, I could probably do with the rest. But, you know, I still love the show, still love the people. But I haven't said anything that a few people on the show haven't said. So it's not, I mean...
So no text from him going,
no
thanks
text
for that?
I mean, it's, you know, it's a place I was at for 8 years, and a lot of the people I work with and still hold with great affection, but I'm not there anymore. And I was just asked my opinion on it, and it's such a great show. You don't want to see it slide in the ratings. You want to see it do well.
Well,
so if that means it could rest for a couple of years and come back with Louis presenting it, then that would be a great thing.
I want to see.
But, you know, no, of course I still love the show.
As we talk about one show on ITV, there is another show on the BBC which is about to start, which is your new series. This is the Getaway Car.
Yeah, it starts on Saturday.
And you've been in South Africa doing this,
Yeah, we did the pilot in May and then got commissioned, and we were out there for about 6 weeks. Because in South Africa, the Croods are very experienced and the days are very long, so we needed a long filming day to do this. And so it was actually weirdly like working on a film set, because you'd start very, very early doors and then you finish as soon as you lose the light. So we started at sort of 5 o'clock.
And what's the premise?
Sorry, the premise is... Yeah, that's the stick. So the premise is, it's kind of a couples in cars game show, but it isn't really... It's more of an entertainment show than a game show. It's kind of total Wipeout behind the wheel of a car with couples mixed with Gogglebox. Because when you put people behind the wheel of a car, it's sort of like being in the front room.
It is.
It gives you licence to behave in the most intolerable way to the person you love most in the world, whether that's your brother or your partner, your wife, your husband, and so we put these people through about 4 rounds of challenges where we laugh at them. So there are little money gates all around. So they'll if they get to 1,000, then they get to 2,000. But then the Stig, 10 seconds later, he takes off after them.
Do you know who the Stig is, most importantly?
No, and it wasn't the biggest crew in the world. So you'd meet everyone and have dinner with everyone together. It's a lovely team.
Yeah.
But... So I kept looking around going, and he's quite a flat bum. So I kept looking around going, I'm just looking for a guy with a flat bum. Who is...
Flat, not fat.
Flat. Okay. But they're very protective over them. Because I said, when we sort of finished filming, I thought, well, I'll meet him now. Yeah. And they said, no, you can't. And bear in mind, we were filming a few little pre-titles skits with him. I got a fist pump out of him once because I had to crash one of those Golfs into loads of gravel with him in the passenger seat. And I did it, and I with the blindfold on, I looked up and he just went like this.
Just before we let you go, will you do us a favour? Will you explain how, back to the NTAs, if you want to vote, how you do it?
OK, if you haven't already cast your vote, it couldn't be more simple. Head to the National TV Awards website. You'll be able to back your favourites by clicking on the Vote Now icon. Once you've clicked on that, you'll be taken through all 15 categories. You'll see that each 4 nominees, and pick one you like. Tick the one you want. It will guide you through to the next category. The whole thing should take a matter of minutes, but if you could procrastinate, then obviously it will take you a lot longer.
Are we nominated this year?
You are. You're always nominated. And Ryland's nominated.
Yes, in the Antideck Entertainment Award.
In the Antideck Memorial category, yeah. The one they will win in perpetuity. But, you know, like you always say,
we'll see
it's always nice to be nominated.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you on the night.
Thank you very much.
Stay in your seats.
Right, yes, we will.
Right?
We'll arrive on time.